Welcome back, everyone, to the TOEFL Secrets Podcast. So glad you're here. Today, oh my goodness, we are just diving straight into what I think is probably the most demanding part, of the whole TOEFL reading section.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Emily. Like, this is where it's funny. TOEFL kind of stops testing basic English, right? And it really starts to check, can you actually read like you're already in university? These passages, they always look like so calm and informative. But the questions, they're just so cleverly designed to catch out those little weak reading habits, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. They really are. And today we've got a fantastic passage for you. It's all about the development of written communication, which, is such a classic academic topic. And through this, we're going to, show you guys some key stuff, how to really track the author's logic, which is just critical. And then we're hitting all the big question types, right? Main idea, detail, vocab, sentence insertion, all those fun ones. And just how to avoid those really common academic reading traps that, students often fall into. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, especially the traps. Like, that's where I think a lot of people struggle. They read it and they think they understand, but then...
Totally.
So I guess step one for us always, it's got to be understanding the actual purpose of the passage, right? Like before we even touch the questions, we always ask, what is the author doing here? Are they arguing something? Are they trying to persuade us?
Exactly. And this text, it's a great example because it's not arguing. It's definitely not persuading us of anything. What it's really doing is explaining a historical development. It's showing us how things changed over time. And that's super important to catch, just from the get-go.
Oh, for sure. So it's all about that chronological flow then, like understanding the timeline is key.
Absolutely critical, Marcus. Totally critical. The structure here, it's really chronological. First, we've got oral transmission, right? Then it moves to early writing systems, then alphabetic writing and printing, and then, it brings us right up to digital communication. Understanding that specific timeline, how it progresses, is, it's just fundamental for nailing, I'd say, honestly, half the questions correctly. If you miss that, you're going to struggle.
Wow, half the questions, that's a lot. So mapping out that progression, even quickly in your head, is a real game changer.
100%, yeah.
So let's just jump into a paragraph-by-paragraph breakdown, shall we? The first paragraph, it really sets the stage, It contrasts oral communication with written communication. And it says something really key here, that early communities, they relied so much on memory and repetition, right? And the thing is, that limited both accuracy and scale.
Okay, so that limited both accuracy and scale part, that sounds like a classic detail question waiting to happen. Is that where Q141 comes in?
You are so on it, Marcus. Exactly. That sentence specifically, it contains a limitation, and it's going to be tested directly in question 141. And if you notice the logic, it's super clear. Oral transmission equals memory-based, and memory-based equals limited accuracy plus limited scale. It's just pure cause and effect, They're really looking for you to spot that.
Ah, cause and effect. That's a big one in academic reading, isn't it? Okay, so for question 141, according to the passage, what limitation did oral transmission of knowledge have in early societies? And option A says it prevented communities from sharing cultural traditions. But that's the opposite, right? Storytelling totally shared traditions.
Totally the opposite. Yeah, you got it. So that's a big X. Option B, it limited the accuracy and scale of preserved information.
Oh, that matches word for word.
Bingo. That's the one. B is correct.
All right, so moving into paragraph 2 now. What's happening there?
Okay, so here the author is explaining how alphabetic writing totally, simplified communication and really expanded literacy. And I always tell my students, pay attention to the key academic verbs here, right? They're using words like simplified, expanded, accelerated. Those words, Marcus, they really signal positive development, It's not about restriction at all, which is a common trap sometimes.
Oh, that's a great point. So these are like signposts for the author's tone almost. Okay, so for question 142, what was one result of the spread of alphabetic writing systems? And option D, literacy expanded beyond specialized scribes, that seems to jump right out, right?
It's directly stated in the text, yeah. So that's our correct answer, D. No ambiguity there. And then we've got a vocab question, Q143. The word circulate in the passage is closest in meaning to, and it's from the sentence, allowed knowledge to circulate across regions and generations. Never just translate the word alone, right? Read the whole sentence.
Yeah, context is everything. My first thought for circulate might be rotate, but that's too physical, an object.
Exactly. And exchange is too mutual. Here, it's more of a one-directional spread. Distribute, though, that's like a perfect fit for information spreading widely.
Oh, totally. Distribute. Yeah, that makes sense. See, it is.
All right, so on to the final paragraph. It shifts to modern technology, right? But it keeps that same theme going, adaptation.
Yeah, I noticed that. And here's an important TOEFL insight, I think, for listeners. The author does mention criticism, like attention spans, information overload, but they don't argue strongly for or against digital writing. That's a huge thing to notice because it prevents you from falling for trap answers later that push a strong opinion.
Absolutely, Marcus. That's such a keen observation. They're just presenting, not persuading. Okay, so question 144. Why does the author mention the invention of the printing press?
This is a purpose question, right? What role does the printing press play in the overall argument here?
Exactly. So option A says to illustrate how written knowledge became more widely accessible. And that's exactly it, isn't it? Cheaper materials, broader access, faster idea exchange, it just totally fits.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because the other options are either too extreme, depend entirely on technology, or just not the main point, compare printed text with digital forms, and oral traditions disappeared completely is just flat out wrong. So A seems like the only real contender.
A is absolutely the correct answer there. Yeah, it just fits the broader narrative perfectly, It's all about that accessibility.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, last question, Q145, which is a sentence insertion one. We've got this sentence to insert. This development made recorded knowledge easier to preserve and share beyond a single community. Marcus, what are you looking for here?
So, for these, I'm always thinking logical flow, not grammar. Where does this development logically fit? It needs a clear reference point. Location A feels too early. There's no clear development yet.
Yeah, I agree. And location B, it's possible, I guess. But alphabetic writing isn't directly about preservation across communities, is it? It's more about simplification.
Exactly. But location C, now we have with the invention of paper and later the printing press. And then it feels like this development clearly refers to paper and printing. That makes so much sense because those absolutely did make knowledge easier to preserve and share widely.
Oh, totally. That's the golden spot right there. Location D is just too late. The sentence would just repeat the idea of circulation, which we've already covered. So yep, C is the correct answer. Whew, we got through them all.
Nice. And just for a quick recap of our answers, 141B, 142D, 143C, 144A, and 145C. So Emily, from this passage, what are your absolute top academic reading strategies?
Top strategies. Definitely track historical development. Always watch for extreme language traps. And anchor your answers in specific sentences, Don't over-infer. Oh, and for insertion questions, identify what this development or this change actually refers to.
That's such crucial advice, Emily. Because, academic reading isn't about speed at all, is it? It's just all about understanding the structure and, the logic of the passage. If you get that, the questions usually fall into place.
Oh, totally. It's like a puzzle, Once you see the big picture, the smaller pieces just make sense. You're not guessing. You're actually knowing why an answer is right. And that confidence, that's huge for test day, Marcus.
Huge. Absolutely. So, if anyone out there is listening and you want more passages broken down just like this, with all these clear insights and step-by-step guidance,
You've got to check out TOEFL Reading Mastery 2026. It's on Amazon, and honestly, it trains you to read like a true university student. Not just someone trying to guess their way through the test. It's really a game changer.
Yeah, it really is. So thank you so much for joining us today on TOEFL Secrets Podcast.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Read deeply.
Think logically.
Score higher on TOEFL.
See you next time.